Hello and welcome to an awful lot of running, a Doctor Who podcast.
Woo!
Wahoo!
Oh yes, yeah, we're here tonight. I am part of your usual hosting team. I always say that. People know that by now, I'm sure. I am Jack. Joining me, as ever, the Belinda Chandra to my 15th Doctor. It's published author, Dungeon Daddy, Robin Foale.
Hey, oh, finally back round to it. A year later, and we can start talking about season two. At least our thoughts and opinions. But
Yeah, it's funny actually because we're actually like 11 months post like when season
oh,
one started, because season one started in May, season two starting in April. So we're very much looking forward to April the 12th when the first episode airs, and we'll go through things from there. And also joining us, stuck on Earth currently, unable to join us in travels. It's the Ruby Sunday to our TARDIS team. It's Star.
Hello, I was named after a road.
And it was and the road was called Chapel.
H-O-T-T-O-G-O.
Someone just got a laugh out of that, I'm sure. Yeah.
Oh,
We are here. We're talking about, this is our pre-season 2 of Doctor Who chatter about theories, thoughts, expectations, and really just us trying to hype ourselves up ready for this new series of Doctor Who. We might have our own reservations about previous things in the past, and certainly the previous series, but it's always that magical time when there's a new series of Doctor Who coming out, because you never know. You might just have your new favorite episode in there. It might just be the best season ever. Who knows?
I'm sorry, Jack. You were talking about making ourselves excited. I'm excited right now. I feel like a kid getting ready for Christmas. Like we've got a brand new season, and I immensely enjoyed season one. I mean, yes, we had our reservations about the end of it, but the journey for season one was just so much fun, and it makes me so excited for season two and the potential of, as you say, more favorite episodes and just a brand new companion as well. It's all that good stuff. I'm jumping ahead, but I'm really excited.
Yeah, and I tell you what, if I wasn't already, the poster that is currently my
Mm.
background, none of you can see. Maybe Star will throw it up on screen. I'm not sure. There have been some great posters in this promotion campaign so far. There have been some great trailers, and particularly the one that I think got me most hyped was like the leaked German Disney Plus one.
Oh my
which,
God,
we,
yeah.
which we eventually did get fairly recently.
Yeah, which just, there's some absolutely amazing scenes, and there's even a bit which I put up on socials and said, like, this is everything I've wanted in a Doctor Who episode before, and that'll be coming for episode 2, which we'll look at in a second anyway. But yeah, no, I'm feeling very hyped. Obviously it's really cool. We've got Ncuti carrying on as the 15th Doctor in this series. We've got a new companion joining us for this series, the Varda Sefu's Belinda Chandra, and then we also will be touching in with Ruby as well. So she'll very much still be a presence in the series in parts as well. Although maybe, who knows? Maybe Doctor Light episodes, or maybe just there as a force working unit. Who knows? Who knows? We'll see. We'll see. I tell you, without further ado, let's have a look at the episode titles that we got so far. So I knew quite a few of these already. We know for a fact that the first 3 of these stories already are going to be the ones getting the target novelization treatment in the coming year. So that's very exciting as well. These all came out. I was so annoyed. Because these all came out on Saturday, the 22nd of March, which was happy birthday, Star, by the way. Since the last time I recorded, you've had a birthday.
You have also had a birthday.
And I've also had
We
a
are
birthday.
now
Yes.
both older.
We are indeed.
Fortunately, Jack's the only one that looks it.
Thank you, Star.
Wow.
Wow. Anywho, as I was saying, this came out, unfortunately, and so annoyingly, when I was at Haven, Burnham-on-Sea, with my family, with the children, at the disco, had no signal whatsoever, pretty much. Somehow got like a wave of cellular data just hit my phone, and suddenly my phone was blowing up with everyone talking about these new episode titles. Like, what? Now, I knew a few of these before we went in, but I'm so glad that we've now got them confirmed and we can talk about them proper. So, episode 1, which will be airing on Saturday, April the 12th, obviously hitting the iPlayer at 8 a.m. in the morning, which is infinitely worse than midnight. I've changed my tune about that almost immediately. But anywho, episode 1 is The Robot Revolution, written by Rusty Davis, directed by Peter Hoare. Episode 2, Lux, written by Rusty Davis, directed by Amanda Brocci. Episode 3, The Well, written by Rusty Davis and Shalma Angel Wolfall. Finally, a new name writing an episode of Doctor Who again since last year's when we had Rogue. Episode 4, Lucky Day, written by Pete McTee, obviously a well-known name in terms of Doctor Who for previous episodes and also working on the collection sets. Directed by Peter Hoare as well. So obviously part of the same production block as Robot Revolution. The story and the engine, written by Inua Elms, I hope I've said that correctly. Directed by Michaela McPherson. The Interstellar Song Contest
By Juno
Dawson.
Dawson.
Yes. Oh, do you know what? That's something I've been sitting on for a while. I've known that for a while that was coming out. I'm not going to say why, but directed by Ben A. Williams. Episode 7, Wish World, written by Rusty Davis, directed by Alex Sanjeev Pila, and The Reality Roar, written by Rusty Davis, directed by Alex Sanjeev Pila as well. So yes, new episodes will debut weekly with a range of dazzling guest casts, including Emmy winner Alan Cummings as cartoon foe Mr. Ring-a-Ding, obviously returning to Doctor Who after previously appearing in the Witch Finders. Yeah, okay. As well as a whole host of other returning and new guest stars as well. So marvelous stuff. Marvelous. Oh, simply marvelous. Straight up, some pretty cool episode titles. I'll admit that.
Yeah, no, I think the episode titles are like really banging this year.
It's nice because a lot of them are quite obscure as well. And sometimes those are my favorite types of titles because they don't give away anything. Like The Well, what's that about? Or The Story and the Engine. That could be describing a million different things. And that makes me kind of more excited for them when we don't know what they're even about.
Totally, I totally agree. And it's funny as well because everything is sort of pointing towards Lucky Day potentially being, I think Lucky Day could be a Dr. Light episode. I think that one could be focusing more on Ruby.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. Not only that, but I think there's been rumors that one of these episodes is apparently meant to be like a direct sequel to a previous episode. So
yeah, that's one which is a slightly leaky territory. So
and we will not be covering.
We will not be talking about that because, as ever with Doctor Who, things like the Bi-Generation leaks. Sometimes things do, unfortunately, leak. Particularly, it seems to be in this Rusty Davis era, which is not great. I'm not a fan of leaks. I know, Robin, you're not personally either, really. And
I hate them, and I've managed to avoid them all. I didn't realize that was potentially a leak, and I apologize if that was. I'm just glad I didn't say anything else.
No, the fact that it could be is, I wouldn't say, particularly because you didn't say the name of the episode, is very, very good.
Okay, all right.
I think we can get away with that.
Yeah, to be fair, with a Russell series, literally any of these could be a sequel to something because we know how he is, which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
I can't believe that he finally got that Terminus sequel in this, though. Oh, God.
I was gonna blow that to law. God damn it!
Oh yeah, no, it's an interesting one, and then it's really interesting. I've done it again. People take a shot, but please drink responsibly. All
Too late.
these episode titles, because they don't give away an awful lot, particularly. I mean, obviously things like the Robot Revolution. There's probably going to be some robots revolting. The well. It'll probably feature a well. The story and the engine, well, it could be anything, like you say, Robin. The Interstellar Song Contest, probably going to be I think we know as well, because it's been deliberately planned to be airing on the night of Eurovision as well. It's supposed to be, in with that. And they've even got Rylan Clark being defrosted and brought into the episode, playing a parody version of himself. And then we just got Wish World and the Reality War, which is obviously, I'm sure once we've seen the episodes, we'll have some context for, but it's very similar to things like The Legend of Ruby Sunday and Empire of Death, where beforehand we were like, we don't really know what this is going to be relating to. I'm pretty certain in saying that I think that the main antagonistical force in this series is going to be Anita Dobson's Mrs. Flood.
I think so. I mean, I've got my theories as well. I don't know if we're going to save that for when we sort of get to those later episodes, but I'm very curious to see what...
say Anita from Joy to the World, I'm going to leap through this screen and strangle you.
Oh, now you just spoiled the surprise there, Jack. I'll come up with my option too.
Yeah, no, not at all, mate. Not at all, mate. No, I think it's interesting, and I think it's there's going to be Russell, I believe, in Doctor Who magazine recently just said there's going to be some lore, there's going to be some lore dumpage in this, or some big lore involved in this, which can worry me in a way, because the last thing I want is it to be given to us in like a lore dump or a slideshow where we as the audience and the Doctor have to sit there while all this is given to us.
So what you're saying is
I'm not throwing shade at anything. I'm just saying that's not how I'd like to have it done personally. I like it when it's done sort of more organically, like, particularly like when we have those little snippets of like the Time War coming in and stuff, or, little things like, finally seeing the faces of the previous Doctors show up in John Smith's journal in Human Nature and Family of Blood. That sort of stuff. But who knows with Russell at the minute, because he is at full height of his powers in terms of just thinking how marvelous. It's a bit marvelous. We've got some great stories. Marvelous. Yes. Yeah. I suppose I'll go to, is there an episode out of this list of 8? This is going to be the 8 episodes of Doctor Who we're going to get for... Well, we don't know yet until what our next series of Doctor Who is going to be, or when that's going to be, because Disney aren't going to commission this until after series 2 or season 2. So we're going to have to sit with this for a while, apart from obviously the spin-off, The War Between the Land and Sea, that's going to come next year at some point. So this is sort of our taster of Doctor Who. It's supposed to keep us going for a couple of years now. Long way of saying, which episode in particular you both do you think you're most looking forward to, personally?
Lux. I mean, I self-explanatory. I like the concept as goal. There's animation. That's like, oh, gimme.
Yeah.
And it's Scooby-Doo style. That's like my 2 hyperfixations from my childhood crossing over.
Yeah, that Hanna-Barbera type animation is just wonderful. The rubber band animation of Mr. Wingerding as well is great, and we've behind the scenes have all said to each other, okay, we need to pick one episode each to be like our episode for the season, like we did for season 1. And there was a little bit of a scuffle behind the scenes as we all kind of ran to the finish line trying to claim Lux.
Yeah. But I think at this point we all just have to say we're locked in for Lux at this point. It's,
I mean, I will say I am quite hyped for and I say this somewhat unwillingly because I personally actually hate Eurovision, but I'm pretty excited for Interstellar Song Contest, but
Yeah.
because the writer,
Hmm.
I think Juno Dawson has written some of the greatest fiction bluntly, within people's lifetime. I
Frankly,
think it's a high
I
bar to
agree.
beat here.
In my opinion, she wrote the best 13th Doctor story. Full stop. The Good Doctor is a god tier
Mm.
book. It
And
really
obviously, I
is.
work with Doctor Who Redacted as well.
Yes. Oh, I
Mm.
love Doctor Who Redacted as well. Season 1 of that is just perfect in my
I,
opinion.
I am cautiously optimistic about the Interstellar Song Contest because I love a good musical episode in TVs, or give it to me for your end of an animated movie or the characters are singing and stuff. I love that, and I loved the musical number in Maestro. Um, I just,
Oh no.
I really.
You forgot the name of the episode, didn't you? Go on, Robin. You can do it. What's the episode called, Robin? Season 1, episode 2. What's it called? You get space babies, and then you get
My dog Fred.
the Devil's Cord. The Devil's Cord.
This is actually giving me the. I guess it's not fair because it would be quite funny, but if it ends with Earth getting its entry and it's just there's always a twist, I'm going to leave.
Oh
Uh,
no.
no,
Yeah.
I'm cautiously optimistic because I want the songs featured to be good. And I don't know if it's going to be a jukebox musical with songs from different times, if we're going to get original stuff, because it's cheaper for them to just create their own stuff. It's going to be interesting because while I do love musical episodes of things, I'm cautiously optimistic about how it's going to come out. But knowing that it's such a great writer behind it, that kind of fills me up with some confidence.
That's fair. The Interstellar Song Contest as well is reportedly the most expensive episode of Doctor Who ever filmed. So
Really?
it could be really, really interesting. My big hope is that we see little cameos from because the Interstellar Song Contest. Wouldn't it just be funny if a cutaway gag was a Dalek, like the contingency from Scar?
I have a feeling the Slovene could show up in that role.
Yeah, I was thinking that
Oh,
as
that would be
well.
great. That would be so good. And I do imagine they
Well,
all will
sorry,
be.
I should say Rex Choreophalatorians, not
Yeah,
necessarily
yeah,
Slovene.
Oh,
of
I
course,
say.
yeah. Or their cousin species from Clom.
Mm.
Oh.
I have the feeling we won't be seeing them again.
Yeah, it's funny that, yeah. But no, I think it would be really. I think it probably will be Murray Gold, song. Let's face it.
Sorry, I'm now just picturing Elton Pope shows up with Ursula to do a
Yeah,
duet.
there it is.
No, I thought you were thinking, Star, that the sequel episode we're getting is the Love of Monsters, and they just bring back the face and the
Yeah,
concrete.
They do,
there it
they
is.
do. That's it. That's the episode.
Do you know what? I'll tell you now, though, and I'll bring it back around to the Interstellar
Uh,
Song Contest.
sorry,
I
yes.
could see one of the entries, maybe not so much being a twist at the end, but I could see one of them being my dog friend.
Yes, yes.
And I
That's
hope, I dream of that being the case.
Jack, hear me out.
Mhm.
We know an alien creature that can sing. Janice Goblin.
Yes, Janice Goblin, Janice Goblin, Janice Goblin, all day, every day. Janice Goblin, yes. Bring the goblins back. Come on, bring the goblins back every year. Every year they should be returning visitors. They should be marvelous, marvelous. I do think that the Interstellar Song Contest will deliver on the promise that the Devil's Cord gave us, though. The idea of a proper musical episode of Doctor Who, which I think will be really interesting to see.
I feel like Devil's Cord certainly warped, so this could run, and maybe that was a deliberate sort of try out things. I mean, obviously different writers and the like, but it'd be interesting for sure.
I also think that there's going to be a bit of a connection between Lux and the Devil's Cord, because
Yeah.
there's all things like there's a clip of Lux that's gone out, which I think if it's an officially released clip, it's all right to talk about personally. But the scene of Belinda and the Doctor before they leave the TARDIS is almost a shot-for-shot remake of the scene of the Doctor
Yeah.
and Ruby in The Devil's Court, which I think that's a fun little idea personally.
Ooh.
People have jumped on that and been vehemently, cross about it. I think it's just a cheeky little, you never know, it could be playing into a bigger idea. I don't see it being there for no particular reason. It could be fun,
I will say, and this isn't a negative thing per se, but it does kind of make me laugh. There's one that's initially briefly starts on Earth, goes to space, and there's one in the past that goes to a big like media moment. There's another one that's kind of interesting and like kind of feels a bit more twisty, and then there's a possibility of a Ruby solo episode.
Yeah, it is. I'm not gonna lie. There's it. Robin, get your George Lucas impression out the box and say the
Okay.
thing. Okay, go on. Say the thing. Say the thing. I try.
Well, it's like poetry. It rhymes.
Beautiful. Thank you, mate. Thank you.
It's, you know what I'm kind of hoping for with this season? Because as much as I loved season one, and this was a complaint, not even complaint, that's the wrong word entirely. Like something that I heard some people sort of discuss with season one and something they wish they had more of in it was to see more screen time of the Doctor and Companion together and not be told that they had a massive time jump in between episodes. If we could try to keep things back to back, especially with this tagline that we've got at the moment of getting her back home, like I feel like that kind of setup is perfect for back-to-back episodes where they feel
Yeah.
connected.
It doesn't feel like you can slip Big Finish gaps, and I'm sorry, I don't. It doesn't feel like you can slip any sort of brief gaps or for any other media consumption to take up.
I mean, we will because we know there's going to be books and BBC audios and stuff. It's going to be. Let's face it, they're gonna Planet of Fire, Kaiser Androzani it as much as they can, aren't they? They're going to, and that's fine. That's their prerogative, end of the day. But no, you're right, Robin. It is interesting. The tagline is, get her home. And I do think that the big thing is going to be the Doctor trying to get Belinda back to Monday Earth and some sort of force preventing him from getting there. Whether that be Mrs. Flood, who seems to be sort of taking the Susan Twist role in this series of popping up everywhere they appear, I believe, which is going to be really interesting, And it does sort of seem to be that they are going for a formula like season one, whether it be for poetry in the sense it rhymes, because that's what it is, or maybe there's going to be some sort of thematic reason for that. Maybe that's going to be something about that, And I think about how the first episode is sort of going to be kind of futury. The second episode is in the past, but with a twist, and then this third episode is kind of like be like an alien sort of world where maybe the well is then being stuck in one place. It's some parallels there, but I suppose in a way, when we look back at RTD1, there was always an episode. The first three episodes were always going to be in potentially a different order. Modern day, past, future. So maybe in RTD2 they're looking to go kind of futury, past, stuck somewhere.
Yeah, no, I think that kind of is the kind of hitting the nail on the head right there. And I think as time periods go and everything, we've got a real good selection this year. Like we've got different worlds, we've got different times, and to have different writers as well. That I think is what makes a lot of us really excited to kind of be given the cliff notes and see how they expand on these stories, or just to just to get some fresh blood in and see what they come up with and what they throw into the mix. Like we've said it before about how we're all excited for Lux. I know that Jack has kind of claimed it almost to him, and Styles got the Interstellar Song Contest. I'm going to say now, just so as we've got it on record, and it'll be interesting to see how our reviews change. I'm going to pick Lucky Day, and I'm going to choose that just because, from what we've seen from the trailers, it looks like the most horror focused, and there's always something quite interesting when they do a bit more horror in Doctor Who. And, the writer themselves being Pete, who has done previous episodes of Doctor Who, and the director especially, who has done episodes of The Last of Us, Daredevil, Umbrella Academy. Like they've done a lot of stuff. And it's gonna be that being Peter Hoa, I believe they're pronounced. I do apologize if I butchered that entirely. But that's going to be my pick, and it's going to be very interesting for us to go back to these and whether we decide to swap episodes or whether we wait less or not.
Yeah, I can't remember what I picked as my episode. I think it might have been 73 yards, but obviously through the series, I changed my mind. I was like, no, Rogue's going to be my one. Rogue's going to be my one. So it could be interesting here. I think something like The Story in the Engine has the potential to be a sleeper hit.
I'm also really looking forward to that, and I like the fact that we just don't know anything really about it. Like the color palette for it looks great from what I've seen, like pierced together in my head.
I think that's going to be fun. And I suppose I've not really spoken about why Lux is sort of my particular favorite.
Oh yeah, please.
I suppose, it's no secret to anyone that I adore animation, whether it be anime or potentially, Western studios as well. I love a bit of animation. Probably in my top 10 films, most of them are probably animated. I look at stuff like Your Name, which is my favorite film. I adore it. So to see, the animation medium being played with and toyed with, and with Doctor Who, the way it should be, the way, I always talk about Doctor Who being a prism, shine a light through it. It's great to see these different ideas and stories being used with Doctor Who being the vehicle. So to have something which already looks to have a really iconic villain in just the design of Mr. Ring-a-Ding, and obviously the voice, Alan Cummings doing a brilliant job. Like, I can't wait to see it. It's that rubber house
Rubber hose, yeah.
Rubber hose animation, Luffy Gear 5,
yeah.
it's thinking of those those 1930s 40s cartoons, akin to something which is inspired by like Cuphead, or all that sort of like old school animation. There to see that is really cool. And then for it to be the Doctor and Belinda being made animation as well, by what we see in the trailer, it being very similar to the Scooby-Doo animation. I really hope, my biggest wish for the series is that it's going to be like a very animation-based episode. And wouldn't it be great if through the episode we didn't just see the Doctor and Belinda in that one art style, but we saw them in different sort of art styles through time,
like Spider-Verse.
Yes. Oh, imagine that. Imagine if we start off with, sort of that rubber hose animation. We get the Scooby-Doo sort of stuff. And then we end up with like even a small bit with that Disney budget. Imagine if we end up with a bit looking like something like, Tangled or Frozen or Wreck-It Ralph, or even something done in the style of Disney animation, like old school Snow White and stuff.
I think it would
be impressive.
It would be hilarious if they did that and then they go into the animation style they've been using for the remake it, animated episodes.
Oh no.
We're expecting high budget animation, then that comes up. But to be fair, they're not bad. They are quite fun. But Disney budget is kind of like, yes, Frozen, we could.
I really do think, though, with the trailers, it feels like season 1 already was pretty good. Season 2, it feels like the Disney budget has like kicked in,
Yeah.
Like visually, it looks
Mm.
gorgeous. So who knows?
Yeah, like the stuff we've seen for, I presume it's the well with like that giant spider-like creature. Like that looks great with the lighting and the effects for it and the explosions.
I think
And
that might even be the story in the engine. Who
Yeah,
knows?
I'm pretty sure the spiders
really,
are the story in the engine.
huh? Okay, I that's really
I,
interesting. And
from what I've understood, because I've seen people try like put it together and order of what they think it will be. A lot of people think we don't actually have a lot of footage of the well, except I think a handful of shots of maybe a spacesuit.
Mhm.
mm,
We do not know
Well,
much about it.
also, it's a crime to not put Shooty in the orange spacesuit. Like, don't get me wrong, the spacesuit that he's wearing is very nice, and people will find that appealing on the eyes. I'm sure. There's
It
but
is quite cozy around areas.
yes,
it,
but
it feels like I'm wearing nothing
but
at all.
but but
Yes, yes, we've said his butt.
But yes.
I mean, wouldn't it just been great if we could have had all the new Who Doctors in that orange spacesuit, apart from
Mm.
Eccleston?
I beg
Oh,
Finish shall put him in one soon.
I'm sure.
I'm sure, yeah.
I I'm also going to quickly touch on not only is the animation aspect of Lux something I know we're all really excited about. I think the fact that it's not just an animated episode, that it fits in narratively with the time setting, with the costumes, with the cinema, that looks really exciting. And whether or not we get a return of Maestro's like child, whether they reappear,
Mm.
that's going to be interesting as well. Because I just presume that they'd be back in season
I
two.
suppose that is hinted. There could be an element of harbinger to it. Who knows?
Mm,
There might we might see more of it. Maybe even Mister Ringading is one of the other pantheon. Who knows? 'Cause there could be.
mm,
If there's the toy maker, the god of Maestro, the god of music. Maybe there's going to be a god of animation. Who knows? Or a god of TV or god of stories. Which we all sort of speculate at one point that might have been Ruby or her heritage. But who knows? It's all very interesting. I do think though that whereas Sutek was the big bad revealed at the very end last year, I do think that Mrs. Flood is going to be revealing her plans from this. Certainly, from what we can see, there, particularly her showing up there, whether it's going to be revealed that she's the one keeping the Doctor and Belinda away, or what. It's going to be interesting to see. I do think as well that Lucky Day, written by Pete McTee, I think there's going to be a connection to that to the spin-off, the War Between Land and Sea. Whether we know what that is, we don't know. Who knows?
yeah. That's interesting. I've not even thought about that as a connection. I know we've seen some stuff with like what looks to be possibly unit with like cells and like
Yeah.
monsters and aliens behind them, and that'll be interesting if that does connect. And I've kind of I've got my theory for what this ending is going to be. Um, I don't know if we're quite there yet, if I should start to reveal my thoughts.
Yeah, rip the band-aid off. Go for it.
So, going purely by the titles and everything, we've got Wishworld followed by the Reality War. And immediately with a title like Wishworld, I'm wondering if we're going to get a real push for the fantastical again. Because we've already had goblins and the like feature in season one. And I'm really interested if, say, for season two, the concept of wishes become a reality. If maybe the world suddenly gets told, hey, any wish you want can become true. That's what makes this wish world.
Ooh.
And it's when people start to wish for too much. There's things that everyone would love, and, things that can be genuine, like, oh, I wish for world peace, I wish for a bit more money. But then what when people start to wish for too much? Like, oh, I wish my partner would stop nagging so much. I wish I wasn't like this. I wish I didn't look like that. And it could be, and I'm completely theorizing here, that maybe the world becomes so broken by having so many different wishes that it affects reality itself. And that's where we get the
Maybe.
title of the reality war. complete speculation, but that's my head
Yeah,
canon.
no. I think there could be something to do with the land of fiction with the idea of the reality war, but who knows? I definitely think that there's going to be something regarding Mrs. Flood. There'll be revealed to her identity. What that'll be, I just don't know. And so there could be. It's. I hope it's something new. I hope it's something different. But with stuff like Empire of Death, who knows? Really. And this was filmed back to back with season one. So I don't imagine there being many, certainly there's not been the reaction to stuff. They wouldn't have seen that when they were doing this because they were pretty much wrapped filming, I believe, by the time sort of season one went out, or certainly only had a bit more filming left to do. So there wouldn't have been the time to change the scripts and what have you. So I don't think there'll be any lessons learned from season one. But
I want to disagree on that point because I think there might be, but not in the same way like they would have got audience. I think that Disney might have said something. I think some of the test audience they had might say something to improve for the next season. I don't think it's right. We should rule out that they wouldn't have had time to change because I think they would have. I just don't think we should be expecting any grand changes based on us as audience members' feedback just yet.
That's fair. I mean, who knows? And look, we can beat around the bush all we want. We weren't big fans of the execution of The Legend of Ruby Sunday and Empire of Death, but we really enjoyed, parts of season one, really, quite a lot. Whether it be, just for the popcorn watching of it or just being a new series of Doctor Who, this could end up being really good. So it's, I want to go into it not being defeatist, and that's what I'm going to be doing. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm glad you've said that, Jack. And actually, the majority of season one, I absolutely loved. I did. I think it was just the execution of the finale, which we've spoken about. And in fact, those of you listening can always go back and listen to that episode. Cheeky plug, and I know, but hey ho.
I come off on right as a grump, don't I?
A little bit. But the thing is, I think it's safe to say that we are all excited for this. And it's a shame that we're not going to have a joint episode that we can watch. Like me and Jack, if we're lucky enough to watch 73 yards.
Personally, I don't know. I suppose, yeah, we're not going to get to see 73 yards together like we did last year, like in an episode like that. And there's not a double bill at the start, which I know that you're feeling a little bit torn about, Robin, personally.
I liked it, but I think for the sake of the podcast and for reviewing episodes fairly, it's maybe a good thing because it gives you time to absorb each episode. And if one episode is maybe more personally interesting than another to you, then you're not just like, oh yeah, this was pretty good in this episode. Oh, but I really want to talk about this episode. You want to give it a fair chance for each one.
And that's the thing. I think I was able to do that a bit more because obviously I saw Space Babies early. So, I saw about 10 days early, I want to say. I don't know, something like that. But then so that I'd already seen Space Babies when I went into Devil's Cause, so it was a bit more, And also, I will say, I think it's. I'm going to talk about something boring for a second.
Okay.
So bear with me. Air times. Whereas I'm glad I won't have to stay out till midnight now. I do think the 8 a.m. drop on iPlayer is actually a lot worse.
I really disagree, but please go ahead and what your thoughts are.
Well, if you're someone who works in retail and
like myself,
like yourself, on a Saturday, you're not going to be able to watch that Doctor Who until you get back home. And if you, in your lunch break or anything, just absentmindedly, because you do, for any particular reason, or just sometimes you get just a push notification with a stupid fucking spoiler on it. It's all those things, and so I feel bad for those people. I personally I just don't see why it couldn't just be, look, we put it on iPlayer and Disney Plus when it airs. Let's face it, how many fucking anime air in Japan and then go straight on Crunchyroll. You know, there's simulcast is an option. You know, there's a model for that. Why are we not? Why are we not using that with Doctor Who? You know?
Yeah, no, I agree. In an ideal world, it would just be immediately after it airs to avoid spoilers and the like. I think with an 8 a.m. slot, it gives people a chance to either watch it on a lunch break or watch it before the start of a shift if they're lucky enough that they're starting midday or they're doing an evening shift. I think with a midnight one, you risk yourself being overly exhausted when you watch the episode, which can affect your first opinion, like you did, Jack. And like, I can understand that your first watch of something can often be so crucial. Like I've had my opinion of things that I've watched before a bit jaded because of circumstances I was under with bad mood, exhaustion. That can really affect your first opinion. And if you have to wait to like past midnight, and I know you did it, Jack, but I know you were incredibly exhausted from it.
Yeah. Yeah, I was. And, at the end of the day, I would say the best experience I had was, probably the second best experience was seeing Space Babies at the premiere.
Mm.
And the best experience I had was sitting next to you at
Oh.
MCM watching 73 Yards, which somehow we managed to dodge spoilers all day, which felt incredible. So who
Mm.
knows? It could work out. Star. Let's finish off the boring talk on the air times. Tell me why you think they're dog shit and why you're right.
Hey, fucking AM, I'm not gonna be fucking awake.
Mm. See,
That's
I
it.
will be, but my kids have gymnastics at 9 o'clock, so I can't possibly put it on. So I think what I'm just going to have to do personally is I'm just going to have to like switch my phone off like for a day, because
Yeah,
it is what it is, unfortunately, and I know there's people that have joked about that, which frankly I think is, people saying just switch your phone off and all that stuff. I just don't think it's very nice or very manageable in the current world we live in. We're
It
so
also can be a bit ableist because a lot of people do kind of use their phone as their crutch.
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of it comes down to as well, which I'm not really surprised by, but it is what it is. I'll tell you what, before we head on over to the Space Time Telegraph, any final thoughts?
I'm really hyped for this series. That's it.
Hell
I mean, the
yeah.
trailers have been
Yeah.
banging, the posters have been banging, the titles banging. I don't know. Series one had a good vibe about it, but there's something stronger and different about this one. I
Okay.
think the titles excite me more because I mean, if I'm going to quickly go through them again and
Yeah.
quickly kind of just go through my like general first thought on the title. Robot Revolution, standard Doctor Who. I think that's going to be fun. I don't think it's going to be the best thing. I think it's just going to be fun Doctor Who. It's going to be nice. Hey, we're back. Lux. I
Agreed.
don't know what the hell's going on there. Lux just sounds like a cinema. It probably is the cinema. Anyway, I'm interested. The Well, ominous, exciting, thrilling. Ooh, what the fuck is in there? Lucky Day. Okay. Uh, Story in the engine. I was admittedly a bit excited for a train. I will not apologize for my autism. Um, but also it's just such an interesting title. It's very unusual, I think. It's not like unusual, but it's like unusual for a Doctor Who story, I think. It's Stellar Song Contest, it's Juno Dawson. The title could be anything, and I'll eat that up.
Mm-hmm.
Wish World, I'm just excited because that sounds whimsical and fantastical, and from the little tiny plot synopsis we've had, I'm like, oh. And Reality War just goes hard as a title.
It really does, doesn't it?
I've
Can't be.
I've yeah. Sorry, Jack, I didn't mean to interrupt. All I was going to say was I've not looked up any of the synopsises for any of these episodes. I didn't know that those had been released yet, and you know
There's
what? I'm going to keep away from those.
There's very, very tiny ones. They don't reveal too much. It is probably best not looking at them, but I see a couple of them pop up now and then.
Sorry, Jack, carry on.
No, nothing at all. I was just going to say, I'm excited. Bring on season 2. Like I say, it's all the Doctor Who we're going to have for a little while. Who knows if we're going to, who knows if we're going to have a 15th Doctor after this series anyway. Who knows if we're going to have, it might be, a new actor. Who knows in season 3? It might. We don't even know when season 3 is going to happen. So, let's just see what happens and let's try and enjoy it.
Good words to stand by.
True. With that, let's head on over to our mailbag of fun, our space-time telegraph. Okay, so Space-Time Telegraph, where we ask on all our socials and Discord channels and all that sort of stuff about trying to get responses from you to help us make the podcast. So I said on many different formats, help us make the podcast. Pre-season 2, we want your thoughts, theories, and opinions going before the new series of Doctor Who hits our screens. I probably could have worded that better. Reply below or send an email to, and you can always send an email to an awful lot of running podcast@gmail.com. You can always send a email or a voice note for anything. It's fine. Who knows? And we always say now, please limit the responses to 500 words at most, please. I did also put no leak talk, please. And people were very good about that, which thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for all the responses. I'm going to head over to Caesar. I'm going to head to the fiery hellscape of Twitter to start things off.
Good, you're following my little list. I can just cross off.
Okay, first one, enemy of the podcast. That'll make her very happy to hear that. We are the cats.
Except April Fools. It's the 1st of April. We're recording this.
Enemy of the podcast, Catherine Wheeler says Mrs. Flood regenerates into Jack Alexander.
Jack, I thought you said we weren't meant to be doing any spoiler talk on this podcast. Now we have to cut all that out.
Next one comes from Joshua Carpenter, another friend of the show. I'm going to take a turn. I'm going to throw a take into the ring right here. I think this season will be a fairly large step up. Series 1 stumbled at the end hard, in my opinion. And I think hopefully Russell recognized that. Time will tell. I'm just here for my Nazi story, mainly. I think that's going to be the engine and the story in the engine. Next one comes from Maury, seeing Linkin Park. Have fun with that. At Maury 231163. I see those numbers and I always want to read them like I'm a freaking Mondasian Cyberman. You're like, at Maury 231130. I can't help but dread the next series. Oh, series 1 was the second to worst series of New Who, in my opinion. The worst being series 2. You hurt me, Maury. Season 2 has me worried due to how little I enjoyed the last series in RTD2 in general. If so, season 2 is more of the same. It's not going to be good.
Interesting. Okay. Everyone's allowed their opinions. Definitely.
Valid. Thank you, Maury. Thank you, Joshua. Thank you, Catherine. I'm going to homer into the hedge my way out of Twitter.
And go to Blue Sky.
I'm going to Blue Sky, yes. Next one comes from Andrew Walker at Spekia and I don't like the Blue Sky thing. I like Blue Sky.
Just say there first. Everyone knows if they're on Blue Sky, they've got that extra bit.
Okay. Andrew says, I'm really excited for this season. Every story has been intriguing. Whilst I'm tired of modern day companions, having a reluctant companion is going to be a fun dynamic. So I'm excited for Belinda. The only thing that could let this down is I really don't care who Mrs. Flood is. You and me both, buddy. You and me both. Unless she's someone new, then I'll be very excited. Yeah, I do think I like it, and it's giving Tegan Javanka, and I'll always have some Tegan. I'll always love some Tegan Javanka when we have an unwilling companion. Just trying to get her back to Heathrow. Next one comes from Will Gem at Will Gem or Will Gem. It's finally pronounced. At some point, either during Flux or Wild Blue Yonder, Earth was transported into the land of fiction. Season finale will get super meta, status quo shattering event incoming. Next year will probably be pretty quiet with just a few specials around the season, since they won't have time to do a full 8 episodes. Yeah. There's no way we're getting a Christmas special this year. I'll tell you that now.
That's sad.
That's
That makes me really sad.
I know. Next one comes from, it's my first time posting on the YouTube channel for a response, and we got one which is very nice from at CR Pal Stuck 2966 says, honestly, I'm really excited for this new season. We're going to get more writers than last season, and Belinda sounds interesting as a companion. Here's what I got from theory crafting. I think it's possible that Valengard made a deal with a toy maker that can make reality more manipulable. Maybe this is the reasoning for why events are seeming to repeat and the gods are so much more prominent in the universe. It makes it easier for Valengard to make the business choices that are guaranteed to work. They're already the suppliers of the church and helping to make the religion that the church is organized around by creating the Star of Bethlehem in 0 AD helps keep their business model flowing. The toy maker may have realized that working with a faceless corporation may allow him to get revenge over the Doctor that much more easier. The Doctor is a piece that the toy maker and Valengard have been playing with over and over. The game began when the Doctor met Ruby. And then lost it there. And Mrs. Flood is the game adjudicator between Valengard and the toy maker. She used to just be herself, but now has replaced the toy maker when the Doctor met Ruby. The goblins being an important part of the toy maker's manipulation of reality to help Valengard, with the Doctor being the deciding factor on whether the Vanguard or the toy maker will win this game. Interesting. Very interesting.
Really
stuff.
Cool. For a first response on our YouTube, that's really good. That is
that's real cool.
Thank you. Yeah. Ooh,
yeah.
That makes me excited.
The next one comes from the Time Siren Discord server in the An Awful Lot of Running channel. First one comes from friend of the show, very friendly to Star as well. It's Cass. It's her husband.
Aww.
And Cass says, I'm excited to see our first person of color only TARDIS team. Which, yes, I wish you brought that up personally because my goodness, it's our first only person of color TARDIS team, and it's about fucking time, right?
I can't believe we didn't bring that up, but that is absolutely fantastic.
To be fair, there is so much in this series that's it's very packed, and we're trying to keep this one a short one. This series is going to be a big one for, I think, all our episodes as we go through them. It's inevitable we're going to miss one or two
little things, So long as
I wouldn't say it's a little thing. This is a huge thing, but we are still going to miss them.
This is history.
Big and small.
This is history making, and it is wonderful. It's so brilliant to see, and anyone saying that it's too woke and too thing, go fuck yourselves.
Thank you, Jack.
That's an official statement from an awful lot of running. If you think Doctor Who's too woke, go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Next one comes from a very, very good friend of the show, Tilly, Duchess of Chaos. Here we go. So once again, Little Miss Silly has appeared to give opinions that were requested, but nobody really wants to hear. Yes, we do. Don't say that, Tilly. We love your opinions. We want to hear them all. So potentially, I don't know, answers on a postcard. So I'm genuinely looking forward to season 2, or whatever the right term for it is, because it seems to me that everything I like in Doctor Who is back. Fun and whimsy, a plot arc over the season, a companion with a real exciting personality and story ideas that genuinely excite me. Last season went to my tastes and at times felt tonally inconsistent. something I picked up even from the first trailers, but this seems distinctly more refined and more interesting content-wise than what we were given last time. I hope that we get some answers for things we're still in the dark about, namely the identity of Mrs. Flood, what the significance of the song buried in Ruby's soul is, and why all of this played out the way it did. Predictions that will be inevitably turn out to be wrong. This is me we're talking about. Susan returns, the real this time. Don't blue ball us, Russell, you sly dog. Please don't bring Susan back now. There's no point. Please don't do it, Russell. A Monday Sunday joke happens. Ruby Sunday, Monday Flynn, yada yada yada. Yeah, of course. Obviously, that's something we did bring up as well. There's definitely going to be a connection there because obviously Varida, appeared in Boom, and then was cast as Belinda, and there does seem to be there's going to be a connection there about Mundy and Belinda, so that could be interesting to see. Oh, this is a big one. I hope Daleks, because I like them coming back a lot, and don't at me or I'll be sad. I'd love it to be Daleks. I don't think it's happening, but I wish it was. I miss my shouty boys. I'm
actually happy. I'm actually happy that they're not
Fuck
coming
you.
back just yet.
Fuck
no,
you,
because
you.
Because the more
Fuck
we wait,
you, Robin.
The more we wait, Jack, the more greater the return will be.
No, we need them back.
Okay.
We need them back. We need them back yesterday. Some big grandiose event, or by the way, Robin, I'm only joking, of course.
I know.
Some big grandiose event or other that ties into an overarching story. And just to be different for everyone else, I want the Mara to be the next god. As always, have a lovely podcast. I send all my love to all 3, 4, however many of you there are this time. I can't keep track. My favourite gremlin, Tilly. Lovely. Thank you so much,
thank
Tilly.
You, Tilly.
And that brings us over to...
No, there's one more.
What?
There's one more on the Time Siren Discord.
Hang on.
I've got my list.
Shut the front door.
We don't have a front door. This is Zoom.
We do. I missed it, of course. Yeah, we have one more from Schmorprickle. That the twist will be the same template as Sutek being on the TARDIS since Pyramids of Mars, but a slightly different beat. Or we get the Rani, but her motivations and history is so different, and far removed from a sadistic bitch mad scientist, that it might as well be someone else. Like she's got some cosmic power, master plan, a tragic backstory, or something like that. Kind of just ruins her being mean for the sake of being mean. Yeah. Could be. Who knows? Who knows? Okay, thank you very much, everybody over there. And let's go to the inbox. Okay, so first one tonight comes from Matthew Hardy. I look forward to your podcast. Thank you, Matthew. So here are some thoughts. First, I'm excited to see more of Ncuti. I have high hopes for this TARDIS team, and I think we might be in for something special. I hope the series carries on like this before. I hope the series carries on like this, carries on like before. Lots of different episodes, lots of new vibes. I know this is a long shot, but I hope Maestro rocks up in the song contest episode. Yes. Oh, that'd be fantastic, especially because it'd be a surprise. I'm also hoping Ncuti gets to go against the Daleks. I haven't seen anything Dalek related as yet, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed. With them filming one series after the other, we could get some surprise appearances. Maestro, Rogue. Great. I have no idea whatsoever who Mrs. Flood may end up being. Will she be a returning character or a new one? I've not been all that invested in it yet, to be honest. Another thing I'm looking forward to, and this is a personal one, but I am sure a few people feel the same. But watching the series without Twitter is going to be bliss. I can take people not liking episodes, etc., but the Vile stuff said really does my head in. To actually be able to chat about the show on Blue Sky without race or sexual orientation being thrown around will be an absolute delight. Most of all, though, I hope we get a fun series full of different, interesting episodes, and I hope this won't be the last we see of Ncuti. Thank you for reading, Matthew Hardy. Thank you, Matthew. I can agree with an awful lot of that. Yes, totally. Okay, next one comes from friend of the show, Jake Mancuso. We love Jake. one of my favorite artists in the Doctor Who community. Just phenomenal stuff there. Jake says, hello, podcasty friends. My hype for the upcoming season of Doctor Who is an all-time high. I dare say even higher than when they were promoting the first season, sorry. It really feels like they are pushing more boundaries and upping the creepiness factor. I really like this getting back home story plot they're stirring up. I truly have no clue where the next chapter is going to go. For some reason, I have a theory that this season Russell is going to try and sneak in some sort of sequel story to an episode from his earlier era. I'm calling either episode 3 or episode 6. Conclusion: Mrs. Flood better not be the Rani. Here. Completely agree with that. It's never the Rani. When it finally is the Rani, that's when we have to go, oh, maybe we're scraping the bottom of the barrel. Jokes aside, I really feel like this season can be a banger. Much love, everyone's favorite fan art guy. Totally. Thank you so much, Jake.
Indeed.
And then last, but by no means least, we have the Beach essay. Thomas Beach, regular contributor, friend of the show, someone we all love, and someone whose thoughts we love to read. Thomas says, hello, Jack, Robin, and Star. Fantastic work on the most recent podcast episodes. They've been an utter joy to listen to. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now then, you're very aware I could talk a mile a minute about my thoughts, hopes, theories, perhaps on what season 2, series 15. Technically, it's what? Series 40 something? I don't know, 43? 42?
Yeah.
I don't know. To be honest, and I'll be honest, I don't have much to say in the grand scheme of things. Of course, I'm expecting it to be great, have banging episodes, and be successful enough for the House of Mouse to commission a further series. Oh, it better be fucking gory. How can I anymore? I
It's late here, folks. Jack is losing his mind.
I also hope that the character work is built upon. A flaw of season 1, series 14 was the disconnect between the Doctor and Ruby, which of course came from Ncuti's working schedule. I felt the series feeling a little disjointed, so much so there's even suggested episode viewing orders. Yeah, I like that. I like to swap. In my rewatch, I like to swap Rogue and the Devil's Cord. I think it works better. Anyway, with Varadis Ethu's, Belinda, and Ncuti being ironically given the freedom to commit to being the Doctor full time, it's a strong hope of mine that the Doctor companion dynamic ends up stronger with this series. I'm also so excited for the new writers in this series, fresher ideas, and just more left field elements. I shouldn't be excited. I shouldn't be excited for the Interstellar Song Contest Eurovision pastiche, but I bloody am. It feels like the perfect mirror to the camp of season 24. It's giving Delta LeBarman vibes, but I adore that so much. I like season 24. I like the camp. I like Delta and the Bannerman a lot. I just don't like Time in the Rani. The story and the engine setting of vibes look so incredible. Something so vividly realized on screen will be such a treat. And despite Lux being read by RTD, the animation side of it looks and promises to be a lot of fun. My hope lies in Russell's. My other hope lie in Russell's court. Honestly, the wet balloon of Sutek, Ruby's quote unquote real mother reveals. I hate that. Yeah, not real mother. It's a birth mother. Carla's her real mother, whether you like it or not. I honestly bite my nails at what the Mrs. Flood mystery box is going to turn out to be. I feel awful to admit this, but I'm so neutral on the show at the moment. Like, I want to be excited for future reveals, but it feels like I'm being burned too often. I'm just hoping for the best. Otherwise, my hopes will be lost. Like tears in Rani. Rain, said the autocorrect. Production-wise, I also hopeful for more emphasis on practical effects. I'd even be happy for the same level of care from season 1. I'd even be happy with the same level of care from season 1, season 14, which I felt like had a great balance of practical digital effects. With this new series going more sci-fi adventure than the last, I fear the balance may be more skewed towards unconvincing CGI. I'm also afraid that the budgets have been split between season 1 and season 2, and this war between the land and the sea, but let's wait and see. He spelt sea as in the ocean. I don't dig for leaks or engage too much in speculation, to be honest. I love the surprise of the moment. As I watch, I suppose I'm thankful that the airtime's moved to 8 a.m. Cries on BBC iPlayer, as it means I don't have to have my phone switched off for a full 8 hours of night shifts. It's better than they were last year, but still, it's funny. It's so based personally on your own circumstances, And I just think by doing it, when it goes on BBC One, it'd just be better for everybody. But hey ho. Overall, my feelings are fairly neutral to optimistic. Fairly neutral to optimistic on season 2/series 15. I just want the best for the show we all love so much. See you in the funny pictures, Thomas Ring-a-Ding Beach, and he's included a picture of Mr. Ring-a-Ding as well.
Very nice.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Thomas. Thank you, everyone who has taken the time to write in, and thank you so much for listening.
All 12.
No, miss, all 13. That's why I pull up an extra one there, but no, I have no extras, unfortunately. So yeah.
Actually, they've been some cracking responses, I have to say. Like, I know we've all been.
Fuck you, Cat.
Yeah.
Cat, you're doing great, sweetie.
I know we've all been excited for season 2, and it's interesting to hear other fans out there being cautiously optimistic or erring on the fact of being slightly burnt out. And I think that is very interesting to bring up, and that is very interesting to see how the season does. Because, as you've said, this has been recorded almost immediately after season 1. They won't have had as much time to have taken feedback on season 1, whether that be its positives and its negatives. But yeah, overall, it looks as if people are really, really excited for this. I know we are, and we'll be very excited to keep covering them and to keep hearing your thoughts and responses, everyone listening, when you message back on each episode, which we would love that. Please do.
Absolutely, yes.
I will say one other thing I'm really looking forward to about this series. It's not necessarily the series itself, it's the covers for our episodes.
Oh, yes. Star has been working away already from bits and bobs. She cooked with many of she always cooks with the covers she does with the thumbnails, but my goodness, just wait till you see particularly the one she's got planned for
I cannot wait for that one.
Yeah, my Lux one is looking to like it'll be my favorite, but I've got a very high bar to beat. Last year's was very good.
Yeah, very good, very good. Personal favorite was Dot and Bubble.
Yeah, should we reveal how we got very close to having to?
Wow, yeah, let's just say we did a hard turn as soon as we saw the episode. There's a reason there was no skit that week.
For context, we were originally going to do a cover where we'd all be in the bubbles, and then the episode happened, and we decided to go for something else.
I think it was one of our first messages as a group chat, just being like, no skit, just no skit. It's like, yep, unanimously agree. Yep.
Right. Let's head on over to our Cannon Buster. Okay. Now I'm gonna be real about this. I'm gonna come clean. Robin, before we started, I didn't have a Cannon Buster. Star found me one, and I was gonna do it. I was so excited. Do you know what I realized, Star?
What?
I've done that one before.
No.
Oh, you should have.
Luckily, I found another one.
Okay, good.
Okay,
that's good.
This one ties into the 15th Doctor. So this story would have happened during season 1's story. It's a story from the 15th Doctor's timeline. It's oh boy. It's not just from his timeline. Robin, the Doctor is met the Sasquatch, or the Doctor has met Bigfoot several times.
Honestly, that does not surprise me. It surprises me, if anything, that Is there a classic episode of Doctor Who where he meets them, or is it just in?
No, but there's a Doctor Who annual where the Fifth Doctor, Tegan, and Turlo meet the Bigfoot or the Sasquatch called the Winter or Mesique. But the real one I'm talking about today is the 15th Doctor and Ruby meeting the Sasquatch in Sting of the Sasquatch by Darren Jones, the BBC Audio. Set in the Olympic National Park in Washington State in the 21st century. Yeah, the 15th Doctor and Ruby meet the Sasquatch. And isn't that just lovely? Isn't that just strange? Isn't that just weird?
That's so weird. And I want the Doctor now to make an offhand comment in season 2 about meeting the Sasquatch. Just oh,
Mm-hmm. Of course, the Doctor does also refer to the fact that he hasn't met the Sasquatch before, although he has, but he's met the Yeti a few times. So, references. Lol.
see, I like to imagine it's like the Yeti from like the Baskin Robbins sort of Christmas specials, that sort of design. But
well, it's funny actually because in the story, the Doctor also makes reference to robot dogs being amazing. We know what he's referring to there. He refers to himself as the man who found the Loch Ness monster, though it's all very hush hush. And the Doctor understands that the Sasquatch has built its own sort of void ship. So there you go.
Damn.
mm,
And of course, which means that the Sasquatch has technology and understanding to the level of the cult of Skaro. We'll put a pin in
Good
that
on
because,
him.
of course, in the story there is also a reference to a greying blonde woman appearing in the forest, who I believe is supposed to be the Susan Twist of that story. So yeah,
okay,
there you go.
interesting.
The 15th Doctor's chilled with Bigfoot.
Oh my
Cool,
God.
huh?
No, that's really out there, and I love it. I love wild
That's
stuff like that in Doctor
that's
Who.
the sort of stuff we love from Doctor Who. You know, I suppose the only trouble is though, Robin is and Star, unfortunately, with the Cannon Buster, that tasty morsel, it does bring us to the end of the podcast. But
Oh,
I'm not sad this week because we know where we're going after this. You know, home the long way round.
oh, you've been saving that, you have, you
Yeah,
clever clogs.
it's
Oh,
true. And do you know what? If we're going to go home the long way round, do you know what it's going to require?
what's that?
An awful lot of running.
Oh, that's so good. Mm, let's do this.
Cringe.
Hyped.
So, next time we see you all or you hear us, we'll be talking about the robot revolution. So, enjoy Doctor Who. We'll see you later. I've been Jack.
I have been Robin.
I have been Star again.
This has been Lawful Running, and run for your life.